All right, welcome back to the PRFFP podcast. This episode, I have creator of Art is Life and Sweat E Gains, Paul Sigler. Paul, how are you?
Hey Jacob, thanks for having me.
Yeah,
Doing
man.
well.
I know I had to work around your busy schedule, but Paul was so dedicated to doing this interview that he's actually doing this interview on his 4-year anniversary of his marriage.
That's right. Thankfully, I had the day cleared to hang out with my wife, and I thought, well, since it's cleared, I might as well just hang out with Jacob. So here we are.
All
And
right.
she's good with it.
All right. So the intro video comes out at the beginning of June,
Mhm.
and you get your actor to be Zach Adam, and you
Right.
get the word wet. So, what was your
Yes.
original reaction to this?
Yeah, I would say it was pretty much an even mix of great joy and great sadness at the same time. Of course, the joy was in having Zach Adam, because who wouldn't want to have Zach
Mhm.
as your actor? I mean, have you seen the guy act?
Yeah, I mean, easily a Party Room Film Festival favorite. I think he was in like 6 films this year.
Right. And surely he's won some acting awards. But anyway, so very excited about that. Not too sure about my word though.
Okay.
In fact, yeah, I thought it was a strange choice. And I think it was Trevor's maybe that suggested that.
How quickly did you get to like the brainstorming and writing process for this? In Trevor's interview, he said that he doesn't even attempt to think about it until 5 weeks into the period,
Mm,
just because that's his brand. How quickly did you start your brainstorming session?
yeah, that's probably one of the few things that separates me and Trevor, because I start mine the day after the previous year ends. I start writing and thinking. So yeah, I mean that's one of the reasons you had to work around such a crazy schedule is, I'm
Because you're
constantly
working.
training and thinking about what I'm going to do for the next year. Of course, that's why I started my cinematography business, was just to practice continually for the film festival.
All
So
right.
yeah, so a lot of preparation, but I try not to get too specific on the script until I am able to see that video. What do you call it? Just promo video? The video that Andrew and Josiah and Zach make. And
The intro video, the rules video, I'm not
yeah,
really
yeah,
sure.
yeah, the rules. You don't want to get too far until you know the rules.
Hmm. Um, but okay, so you weren't really sure how you felt about getting the word wet. So
No.
tell me, what was your light bulb moment of, well, I can use it as sweaty gains and I can just make it be super disgusting.
Right. Yes. Well, actually, my initial thought was I was going to go with like a post-apocalyptic route.
Okay.
I'm not sure why I thought that. Maybe it had to do with Zach, and I kind of equate him with that genre.
Hmm.
But I had this whole idea in my head for a film that starts out with him just living his life, going to work, waking up, all that stuff,
Hmm.
but subtle hints that there's no water in this universe. And so he's at his work, he's at his desk, and all of a sudden, like a drip of water onto his head or his arm or something. And like the workplace tries to cover it up, right? Because it's this big conspiracy. But then the film was going to be him on this quest to like learn that way back in the day, like humans drank water and there was water everywhere, and he's going to try to discover it. So that was my initial wet idea. And then, what was it that changed it? I think I decided that would just take way too much time and be way too difficult. And
Hmm.
instead, it'd be more fun to do like a comedy with Zach where I could just let him be funny and
Hmm.
we could all laugh together.
I will say, I think that kind of equates to like the Mad Max Fury Road universe. And I think he absolutely would have loved that. Um, Dress him up as a Morton Joe and everything. It would have been good. But I love
Yeah,
the idea of like the conspiracy theory, like cover up the fact that there's water.
right, right. Yeah. Kind of funny because Zach ended up doing like a conspiracy thing like that.
Mhm. Oh, it would have been perfect for him. Um, but not more perfect than Sweaty Gains ended up being, because
Thank you.
this really is a perfect film. Before we get into me praising you and editing and all of that, give me a little bit of a timeline. So, about how far into the festival did it take for you to start filming, writing the script, editing, all that?
I mean, I kind of had the concept in my head. I don't I think I did actually write a script this time. Yeah, I did. I've always liked the idea of a workout comedy, so that's been on my potential script list on my phone for since college, because I've just always thought it's a very humorous place, and there are lots of interesting characters in the gym, and
Mhm.
it's kind of interesting visually because there's a lot of movement going on, so like it's pretty good on camera. And I actually wrote a workout comedy when I was at Asbury, but I did it for Klein's assignment where you have to switch scripts with somebody else.
Mhm.
So Marcus Cook got my script for that, and he did a great job with it, and it was in Highbridge. But I always wanted to do one of those myself, so that's
Mhm.
kind of why I pivoted toward this workout idea. And then I think we filmed just like maybe the weekend before the submission was due, because I needed Zach and Levi to both be free at the same time, and that was difficult.
So
They
I had Levi do the audio for
right.
my thing, and he kept it a complete secret that he worked with you. So it blew my mind whenever I saw him in the video. But
That's awesome.
I remember talking to him after the film, and he told me a story about how he asked you, he said, "So when are these due? Aren't they due kind of soon?" And you said, "Yeah, it's due in like 2 days, but it's fine. I'll get it in." A lot of quick cuts in this. How long for editing?
I think I spent about a day doing the edit, like a pretty solid work day putting it together, if I remember right.
I will say one thing that stands out to me is the audio editing for this film. Subtle things like when Zach throws the shovel on the ground, you hear the little like of the grass, and obviously just the very haunting water drops as they fall off of the bench. The
Yeah.
audio is excellent in this.
Which is actually harder than I was expecting to get a good water drop sound.
Really.
We tried in my kitchen, I tried like several times pouring water onto stuff, and to get it to actually sound like what we in our heads think of water was actually harder than I thought it'd be.
Wait, so you're saying you recorded the water drop sound?
Yeah.
Did you really?
Yeah.
That's awesome. I don't know. I just figured it would have been like clip art or whatever the equivalent of audio to clip
Yeah.
art is.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Where is this, by the way? Where does this take place?
Right. Yeah. So that's actually my neighbor's house across the street from us, which was convenient, but certainly not my first choice.
What would have been the first choice? The gym at Asbury?
Yeah. Either the gym at Asbury or the gym at the seminary, or really any gym anywhere. Any actual functioning gym would have been great, but you take what you can get.
I think that your like faux gym is pretty good. I was watching it. I watched it a couple times today, and you've got some dumbbells in the background, you've got the like some arm stuff, but there's also a fitness poster on the wall that I just thought was a really nice touch to sell the fact that this is a functioning gym.
I'll have to go back and watch it. I don't even know what you're talking about.
Oh, so it's just there. That wasn't you doing set design.
No, it sure wasn't. It was just there.
um
So I can thank my neighbors for that.
Tell me a little bit about pitching it to your neighbors. How did you convince them, and then have they seen this, and what was their reaction to it?
Well, they certainly haven't seen it, so I'll start there. But it helped me connect with my neighbors unexpectedly, so that was kind of nice. Because the reason we couldn't use the Asbury facilities is because it was a Sunday, was the only time that Zach and Levi were both free.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, both the institutions are closed, so those were out. And I have another neighbor that has like a legit garage gym, like really nice.
Mm-hmm.
But he maybe wasn't comfortable with us filming or getting it wet, or like some reason he didn't want us to use that.
Mm-hmm.
So I found out that these neighbors across the street had the bench in their garage, and I haven't interacted with them a ton. I kind of know their sons, but anyway, I just went over and knocked on the front door. They like invited me in and were super nice and like showed me the space and all that. And I was like, oh great, I think this will work. So then I go home, and either later that night or the next day, the mom over there like comes to our front door and brings us a cake, and she's like she's like, man, we've been trying to like meet you guys and be better neighbors for years and just never really done it. So anyway, do you want this cake?
Oh,
So it really worked out. Like,
that's
yeah,
so sweet.
I know, yeah, isn't that great?
That's really
So it was
nice.
a good connection with our neighbors, and the space worked out too.
I would love to get their reactions to this though. Be
Yeah.
like, you used this space for that? Ew. By the way, grossest film of the night, in my opinion, does not go to Andrew King. If you remember Andrew's American
Oh, I
Unsightly,
remember.
where it's regrettably memorable. That's what I have been calling it. But that didn't make me retch. The way that the drops hitting Levi in the mouth made.
Interesting.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if that was your intention to be like the grossest of the night, but that just had
No,
such a
no, and
visceral reaction from me.
I would certainly argue that Andrews, in my opinion, was grosser, but that's interesting that it had that effect on you.
Yep.
That's good. That's good.
As an artist, you just want me to feel. So
Maybe part of the problem for me is that I was there, you know, when we were using water and stuff. So because the magic was lost on me, it didn't strike me as gross. But
you were too close to it.
though I will say that a lot of those drops did come off of Zach's nose. His
that
nose turned out to be a really good dropper.
that brings me on to the next question about like percentage wise, how much was actually Zach's and Levi's and water? Did we have any incidents of actual sweat?
Well, it was August in a second story garage. So yes, there was definitely some real sweat going on. Percentage wise, maybe like 90-10.
90% real sweat, 10% water.
Yeah.
Zach can start
I
sweating
don't
now.
even, yeah, I don't even know if it was that much. I don't even think he was sweating, but it was really hot. I do remember that. And he was welcoming the spray bottle to the face because it was so warm up there.
Tell me a little bit about the acting direction that you give or that you gave to Zach and Levi, because they both obviously gave great performances. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I feel like it was actually pretty difficult acting performances too. So they did a really good job. Because with Levi, I wanted him to I wanted him to be annoyed, but I didn't want him to just be like a jerk. I also wanted him to be empathetic, especially toward the end. Like he needed to change where he started to actually be trying to be nice to Zach. So that was a tough role because a lot of times he was in between those two extremes of just like, I'm super annoyed, I'm mad at him. No, like I'm kind of going along with him, I'm nice. So it's a little difficult. And then Zach's too was in a lot of ways, Zach was just able to do this perfectly without much directing. I felt like it wasn't a super easy role because I wanted him to be overbearing and aggravating, but not annoying.
Like socially inept,
Uh-huh.
but not in an angering way, in a kind of in a passive way, I guess you could say.
Yeah, in a kind of likable way even.
Who is the protagonist in this? Is it Levi or is it Zach? Who's the hero?
Probably Zach.
Really?
Probably so. I would probably say so. But that's a hard question.
I think, because Levi, he goes from being annoyed to being accepting, although he is like begrudgingly accepting.
Right.
But you do have Zach who does like, end up making friends with Levi. So it is interesting.
Yeah. Do you think Zach was being genuine at the end, or was he just being manipulative?
I don't know. That's another question for you, the director. Is his family actually all gone? And if so, what happened to them? And that's something you can just not answer if you don't want to. You have that right as the director.
Yeah, I think I'll leave that up for the interpretation of the audience.
Like,
but I was curious what your thoughts were on it.
I would say I think he was being manipulative because from the look of his character and the way we see his character act,
Mhm.
he has been shunned a lot of his life and has found a failsafe that if I guilt people, they stay around, which is pretty tragic. But I think that would probably be the real answer. I don't know if his family is actually gone or anything, but I
Mhm.
would think that he's being
Yeah,
manipulative.
that's an interesting theory. Of course, I know the real answer, but I won't say it.
I love the tone switch in your film as well, just because it goes from these like that's one thing that also stands out about your film is the quick edits for the sake of comedy, whether it's putting the weights on the bar or making the protein shake, just the quick edits to emphasize the comedy of it. It's just really well done. But then we go to the sad portion of it and it's like long wide shots of them talking. Just
Yeah, good analysis.
yeah, I do my homework. I do my
Yeah,
homework.
I'm impressed.
You're like, I didn't even think about that. Cool. I think it's like Edgar Wright, I think, which is
Uh-huh. Yep.
that I like a lot.
Yeah, me too. I really like those quick montages. And I really like anytime that, which is again very Edgar Wright, but anytime that somebody comes into frame or like brings an object into frame from out
Mhm,
of frame, which we do with the protein shake in this, and I did with the bag of
mhm.
chips and Balaam. But I always get a kick out of that.
Yeah, it's like a it's in Shaun of the Dead in Edgar Wright where the phone comes into frame, just the
Yeah,
arm. It's like the
yeah,
protein
exactly.
shake.
It's fun to me whenever you can take advantage of things that you couldn't do in real life.
Mhm,
So like in real life, you don't just have a box of vision and you can only see what's in that box, right? So anytime you can play and expand like what the audience sees and make, especially making comedy with that, I always find that really interesting because it's very different than a normal life.
Speaking of that box, I am new to this term, but I'm curious about your decision to use it, but why did you go with the aspect ratio that you did? Like, why the widescreen? Why not just a full screen?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the widescreen whenever you want to make something look higher production value than it actually was. Because we're forced to film on phones, I went with that to kind of hopefully, like trick the mind into thinking it's more cinematic than it actually is.
I suppose so. It's just interesting. I mean, Andrew's aspect ratio made it look like a
Mhm.
box, but that did not
Yeah,
look good
yeah,
at
he went
all.
with the opposite approach.
But no, it's just interesting. I've never really thought about the difference between a full screen and a wide screen and the
Mhm.
effect that it might have on the film, or the viewer's perception of the film. So I was just
Mhm.
curious about that.
Yeah, we're used to seeing that in like high budget films, and I really like that look just
Mhm,
personally, but also it also gives you some flexibility in editing because you have more room on the top and bottom of your shot. So you get a
mhm.
little bit more flexibility with reframing as well.
If time or budget wasn't an issue, like if you had an extra month or an extra like $1,000 in the budget, what would
Mhm.
be different about this film?
That'd be like double the budget we use. Well, I think we probably would have been in the gym. Right? Probably would have been in a real gym. There probably would have been some like interesting people blurred out in the background, like
Mhm.
doing funny workouts and grunting and stuff. Levi's character probably would have been played by Tom Cruise.
Okay. Yeah.
Probably would have made that switch, or possibly Jim Carrey.
Like between you're deciding between Tom Cruise or Jim Carrey, or
Mhm.
you're saying you would replace Zach with Jim Carrey.
Well, I couldn't replace Zach. He was a requirement. That was
that
right in the rules.
that brings up another question. Why did you
Mhm.
not act in this film? You acted in a couple others. Why were you not in your own?
Well, because I was filming it.
All right, fair enough.
How could I have been in my own, Jacob?
I
I
don't
can't do everything.
I don't know. I was in my own like 12 times.
Oh, that's true. You were the main character in yours, weren't you? Hmm.
I do love your performance in Trevor's Unsightly Zombies.
Yeah, that was fun. I was glad to be a part of that one.
All right,
That was a hard acting job too.
between Art is Life and Sweaty Gains, which do you think wins if they were to go head to head?
Oh well, they're pretty different
Mhm.
genres. What are they going head to head on? Just in general, overall
Like
film
let's say
quality?
we, like let's say we just had like a fresh nerd audience. It's still the guys and stuff. Neither of them have seen either of the films, but they watch both of them back to back. What do you think would win?
I think the Sweaty Gains is a bit more of what the film festival is made for. So I think it's a little bit better for the audience. But it did seem like there was some appreciation for the different genre for Art is Life. So I'm not sure. I think that's a tough one. I have a lot of personal appreciation for Art is Life because it encouraged me to start doing vlogs. And so I've done, like Riley and I have made several since then. So that's been really cool just as a life thing, because now we have these visual moving photo album type memories on YouTube. So
video scrapbook, basically.
yeah, exactly. So I have a lot of appreciation for that one because of that reason. But overall, I think Sweaty Gains is better for what the film festival is.
I would agree, but I did love your submission from last year. I think you got third place. Is that? Do you remember? Or
third? Well, weren't we just paired up against one other person? Was there an overall ranking? I think I was just competing against one other person.
Last year you were competing against Tanner and Mitchell, I believe.
Oh yeah, okay.
But I believe in like the overall ranking, I think you got third. I might be getting
I didn't even know we had an overall ranking. That's good news. Oh, you're right, because we do like the best film at the end, where we all vote, and Sam won it that year. That's right.
Paul, it's good to know that you take the festival seriously.
Well, it's been a while. It's January. It's hard to remember what happened back in the summer.
And this has been a fun way.
Where are we going to have it next year? Now that Andrew's gone,
there is talk of doing it at Zach's house. So in Southern Indiana, and then if we do that, we might be able to like put it up on a screen and do it outdoors.
Interesting.
Because I mean, you've been to his place, right?
Yeah.
So it's just like a big open area. He's got a pretty sweet pad to hang out in.
That would be cool.
We were joking in the chat this week about how if we ever do like a July 4th or a patriotic festival, we're going to do it in DC and project it onto the Washington Monument.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah, I think it's Zach, but that's subject to change. I don't know.
Gotcha.
But speaking of this year, do you have any concepts or plans that you're playing with for this coming festival?
No, I've shifted approaches this year and decided to just not consider it at all until I see the rules video. So I'm a firm believer in waiting for that this year, because you don't want to get too into an idea and then have to just cater it around the rules. I think we've all seen that done a few times where it was obvious somebody had something they already wanted to make and then they just threw in the elements. So yeah, I don't want to get sucked into that. So no plans as of yet.
Do you
rules
think
are always changing? You never know what they're going to throw at you, those RAs. So you got to be flexible.
Yep. The High Council, or would they be considered the Academy of the festival?
Yeah, I don't know. I will say though, I am continuing to create videos, every day for my work, and obviously I'm doing that to keep my skills fresh for this summer. So that's been helpful. I recently learned that some people get paid for making videos, which is interesting. So I'll look into that. But I think my skills are staying fresh, and I started going to Asbury Seminary to learn more about, storytelling and communicating. So I'm hoping that'll help too. So even though I don't have anything specific planned, I'm definitely, keeping sharp and keeping ready.
Yeah, you're keeping those skills honed. That's for sure.
That's right.
Is there anyone you want to call out this year, grudge match style? It is okay if not.
Call out? What do you mean by that?
Like, even if y'all aren't in the same category, you want to be like, I can beat this person. Just like for a friendly rivalry.
Well, I'm 2-2 right now. So I'm feeling pretty good. Against anybody. I'm not sure if I want to be pitted up against Trevor. I'm answering the opposite of your question.
I would love to see a Trevor Sigler matchup. That sounds amazing.
Yeah,
those would be such drastically different videos.
Right. Maybe, well, Anyway, I'm not answering your question, but no one specific. We'll see. But I'm feeling good. I'm 2 for 2.
Yeah, you heard that, Trevor. He's calling you out. Paul, thank you so much for your time today. Happy anniversary as well.
Thank you. Yeah, this was definitely the highlight of marriage so far, was this interview. So I appreciate this moment and the opportunity to do this, and appreciate Riley just sitting off to my right here, just waiting for me to get there. So yeah, it's been good. Thanks for having me.
This has been the PRFFP, and I'm just hanging out.
Are you pointing at me?
Yes, I'm pointing at you.
Oh, okay. So am I supposed to finish the line? Is that how that goes?
Oh my God, yes. Paul, come on.
You call me Trevor. All right, try it again. Take 2.
No.
No, take 2.
All right. This has been the PRFFP, and I'm just hanging out.
Hanging out with my.
What are you doing?
I'm pointing it back to you.
No,
you're the only one that's allowed to point. Just because it's your show, I can't point it back. I have to finish the whole thing on my own. I'm carrying all the weight here, Jacob.
Family.
All right, take 3. Oh, there you go. Very nice. All right, you can just edit that in so people won't even know there was a pause.
I'm not touching it.